And it works on your heart. It really does. And it works on your heart. It really does. And it works on your heart.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sycamore Jones, a podcast where we discuss the band Sycamore Bones from right here in Lenore, North Carolina. I am joined again by Sycamore Bones co-founders Andrew Massey.
Hey.
And Cory Kinal.
Howdy.
I'm reading a text like a jerk.
You are a jerk.
Sorry.
We're doing a podcast here, so get with it. I'm going to pause so you can cut that out.
We're keeping it.
All right. So last time we talked a little bit about, the band itself, how you guys came together, the history of the band. And so this time I'd like to talk a little bit more about the songs and the music that you guys have written and come up with over the years. You've been playing live, as you mentioned, from the very beginning. You met at open mics. But you've also done a number of recordings over the years. Talk to us a little bit about how that came to be. How did you first decide to start recording? Why? And what's that process like?
Well, we just really felt like we had a unique voice that needed to be heard. I'm kidding. I don't know. We recorded because I guess that's what you do when you're a band and you want to get more gigs and you want people to hear what you do. You record. It wasn't like a real profound decision. Recording was really difficult at first, if I remember correctly.
What was the first song you recorded?
That's a hard one.
I know the first songs I wrote for the band specifically were When You Got Love, which we still play and just recorded last year, and Don't Let the World Get You Down, which we did a really rough recording the first time we recorded with Tom Garlow. Hickory songwriter extraordinaire, Tom Garlow. He writes jingles for Food Line now.
Oh, does he?
He told me. He came to my songwriting
That's
class
amazing.
at Hickory, and he's like, I'm like, what you doing? He's like, just writing jingles for commercials and stuff.
So
Tom was he has a studio or how did
he had a studio in his basement?
In his basement, yeah.
And I think him and Michelle, we did it. Was it one microphone or we didn't? I don't remember being a big setup. I think it was a pretty simple recording. It was just me, you, and Michelle. I had the bass. And
yeah, I think it was track by track.
Yeah.
If I think so. Just from remembering what we did with harmony and whatnot. But
do you remember what songs we did?
Shoot, I barely remember doing it.
Was that intended to be an album, or was that just you just did a song or two just to kind of see?
I think we did 3 songs.
Yeah,
and I think we probably did. I'm surprised I'm the one that remembers this because I don't remember anything. We did 3 songs, and I want to say that it was When You Got Love, probably Better Days, because that was one of the first ones we did.
Classic Sycamore Bones.
And maybe Don't Let the World Get You Down or something like that.
Oh, yeah. That's always one of my favorites.
That's a possibility.
Right? Those were like the first 3 we started playing together.
Yeah.
That were original. And we still play all those now.
How long had you guys been playing together when you decided to start recording?
A few months, 6 months maybe.
Oh, really? Is
If that, probably.
We had already had you in the band and kicked you out.
Right, it was quick.
And we already had a female vocalist and then like 2 practices and decided to go with somebody else. Mm-hmm. So it's cutthroat business.
Yeah, it's music business, man.
I think that we were also trying to get the social media thing going. And so that's just the process of getting that going is having something to put out there too. Because I'm sure we probably only had a couple gigs, maybe Highland Avenue Coffee and Granite Falls Brewing. Probably those were our gigs, and then we went into the recording studio.
You remember how bad that Granite Falls Brewing gig was?
The PA was horrible.
We borrowed the PA from another band. If you guys know anything about the Hickory music scene back in the day at Copper Bean Coffee, Bodachita, Sean Jarman and David Fry. And we borrowed David's sound PA system, and it was one of those Bose towers or whatever. And we could not get it to not feed back on us. And it was a weird room anyway, and I think it was a Christmas party that night, and there were like a party of 40 or 50 people that were incredibly loud, and we kept cutting up.
That never was a good space for live music anyway. It was a little, it's an old manufacturing facility, so it was always echoey, and the noise from the tables was just always a lot. But But I was there. I remember that show.
You sang with us. You sang Paradise.
I did sing a little bit.
Which little just to entice you guys to come on our big 10-year anniversary at Liquid Roots, August 10th. Kyle Case will be singing Paradise with me and Cory again. Snap the fingers.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
He's gonna do
it. So you've been playing 6 months. You decided to record some music. Do we want to listen to one of those songs and kind of? Which one did you guys pick out?
I don't think we picked one out for this one. I actually think these recordings are gone in history.
Oh,
They're
wow. Okay.
washed away like the sand on the seashore.
Gotcha.
I don't know where they're at. I don't even know if I could.
Lost somewhere.
I mean, my inbox on my email does have like 22,000 emails in it because I don't delete emails ever.
It's probably there somewhere.
It's somewhere.
Well,
It's got to do some sorting.
We should talk to Garlow about that.
I bet
That'd
Garlow
be
has it
awesome to get
somewhere.
those, wouldn't it?
He doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would delete those.
You did record those songs again later.
One of them, yeah, we did
Yeah.
Better Days again. So the second time we tried to record was with our buddy Kyle Teeters, he's played drums in a number of bands, most notably with Will Willis.
Second best Kyle to ever be in the band.
Second best Kyle in the band. And
best drummer, I'll give him that. Best Kyle drummer.
Best Kyle drummer.
I won't put you on the spot on that, but
yeah, Kyle.
Is that a pause?
Is that a pause? We cut that out. No, he was. He recorded in his basement. They had like a band house, and Yatatu, which was a band he was in, I think had broken up, or they all went their separate ways.
Oh, wow.
But Simon Everett, who also plays with Will Willis, and whose wife, I'm just gonna go off on a side note here. Sydney, when she took our band pictures when we were playing in the band with Michelle when we first started, we were the first people to ever pay her to take pictures.
Wow.
And now she's like a professional photographer.
Oh, yeah.
And she took pictures at my wedding, and I was the first wedding that she did.
Yeah, she does great
so
photos.
We're tied together with Sydney and Simon.
We're
and
a kickoff for a lot of people.
We are. I think we got something special. We give it away. That's why. Anyway, so Kyle Teeters recorded us. I feel like I'm talking a lot on this, Cory. Are you going to chime in?
I've been talking.
Yeah, so, Kyle Teeters. What were we're talking about the second time you recorded
and
here.
so at that point, we were trying to transition from a folk group, just acoustic guitar, vocals, three vocals, and upright bass, to like more of a rock group, because me and Cory have always had in our head that we wanted to be like alternative country mixed with like punk, mixed with like singer-songwriter.
It's whatever
we want to be real sensitive dudes that are rough around the edges, you know? And so we wanted a little rockin' vibe, and I think I mentioned on the last interview podcast that we did that we had Jason Barr, who was a friend of ours, who was a pretty good guitar player, and we had Ian Haas, who we met from working at Howard's. He was a bartender and a friend of ours, and just found out that he played drums, and we got him to start playing. And Michelle was still in the band at this point. And
I will add that even though you had kicked me out of the band, I think the fact that I was working at both Granite Falls and then Blowing Rock and then Howard Brewing led to a number of gigs and also a number of connections with musicians.
We haven't gave you your founders or finder's fee for that.
That's right.
Yet.
I'm still
Really,
waiting.
We're waiting for you to just to like manage us and book for us. We really want you to
one of these days. Yeah, we just
do all
all
these
gotta
administrative tasks that me and Cory don't like to do. We need somebody to do it.
So what did you record that second time?
We recorded. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Cory. We recorded Just You and I, which is one of my favorite songs that I've written for the band early on. We recorded Don't Let the World Get You Down.
That's one of my favorites.
We recorded
Classic.
Methamphetamine.
Cory says.
Here we go.
Cory says we're
Tell
wrong.
me what's the list.
I've got it pulled up from our website if you want to listen to it, sycamorebones.com, which is a whole nother story. So during those sessions with Kyle Teeters, we recorded Methamphetamine, Just You and I, Buzzed or Wasted, Girl, Better Days, and When You've Got Love.
That's a pretty good list of songs.
That's a lot.
Good. That's pretty accumulative of where we were during that time.
Really.
Which one of those do you want to play and have people listen to?
Kyle, what do you think? What do you want to do?
Read that list again.
I'd say, let's do Better Days since that was the second recording of that one.
And that's actually what it's titled, right? Better Days?
On our website it says methamphetamine, but I think it was Better Days.
Yeah.
Oh, it's mistitled on the website.
Look at that.
Okay.
That's like a little B-side. If you got to collect that
Yeah.
as an
Collector's edition.
We're gonna put out the Garlow recordings as a little B-side.
That's what we should call them, the Garlow recordings. Sycamore
Yeah,
Bones.
I like it.
$100 per cassette
Right.
tape.
I'm sure there's a CD floating around somewhere. I can almost picture it.
Probably
right
one
now.
in my car.
That could be. You haven't seen a lot in your car in years, have you, Kyle?
I think I've got all of your albums in my car.
Do you?
Yeah.
Like the tangible CDs?
Yeah.
Like ultra
Yeah,
fan.
got
right
the-
That's
there.
a good fan.
Got an Amma. I got at least a couple Sycamore Bones.
Nice.
Anyway, enough about me. Let's play Better Days.
Shadow in the doorway said, babe, are you lost? You have got to find your way to the road you forgot. Our love was meant to be from the second we were caught. It ain't no use to scream 'cause the sky hasn't even dry. Sit down at the table filled with bills and cards. One, I wonder if I'm able, the other sends regards. As she sits down there with me and says the world is ours. You can be what you wanna be. The sky isn't all that far. I said, take me away from my own damn chain. Let them all fall off. Find those better days. Said, take me away from my own damn chain. Let them all fall off. Find those better days. Oh, sweet Carolina, could I call you home? In all your beauty, could you find me a brighter ray of hope? I close my eyes and all I see is the life I thought I know. So I try to bite the dream. Sky is still so close. Said, take me away from my own damn chain. Let them all fall off. Find those better days. Take me away from my own damn chain. Let them all fall off. Find those better days. Shadow in the doorway said, babe, are you lost? You have got to find your way to the road you've got. Our love was meant to be from the second we were caught. It ain't no use to scream, 'cause sky's an evening drop. I said, take me away from my own damn chain. Let them all fall out. Find those better days. Said, take me away from my own damn chain. Let them all fall out. Find those better days. Said, take me away. Said, take me away. I said, take me away. Said, take me away.
So that was Better Days off of your second recorded album. Or maybe not full album, but second,
EP is what
second
they call it
chance
in the biz,
recording.
Kyle.
Yeah,
EP.
An EP. That was a Cory Kinal song. Is that right? You wrote that one?
Sure is, Kyle.
And what that's always been one of my favorites, to be honest, of
thank you.
the band. You know, I was just thinking as we were listening to that how some of my favorite songs from both you guys are the ones that are really kind of uplifting to me. That one's got such a positive feel to it, you know, and it just always makes you feel a little hopeful. So, like, tell us a little bit about writing that song. What inspired that for you?
Oh, cool. I'm glad to hear that, Kyle. I'm glad to hear that it's inspirational to you.
Are you going to say it's like it's actually about like death and everybody, you know, it's super dark?
Take
No,
me
it's-
away means like sweet Lord of Mercy.
No, exactly.
Death,
It's
come.
a
Just
it's
break
a
my
it's a
bubble.
bluegrass song. Take me away, the taking away. No, it's actually one of the first songs I wrote in North Carolina. I feel like, and it was really about me moving here with Sarah, my wife, and her having a job and me not having a job, and just trying to figure stuff out, sitting in an office, just trying to find a job, searching through papers and whatnot. So it was kind of a self-emulating song where you sit there and
Yeah.
you think and be like, it's more of a hopeful song, I guess, than anything.
Mm-hmm.
More like take me away from my own damn chains.
Yeah, that one,
And,
that line in particular always resonates with
Yeah,
me because I feel like
yeah.
for me and probably for a lot of people, you know, it's like you're so in your own head. You know, you're the one that's weighing yourself
Exactly.
down.
Exactly. And I think that's what it comes down to, and that's a lot of what goes on with people in general. Is
Yeah.
you do get weighed down, and so it's funny listening to what people think about my songs anyways. I know me and Andrew have had conversations about other songs, newer songs, and he's like, well, I think it's about this. I'm like, well, heck yeah, I would say it's about that. And you start to think about it more so internally as a songwriter, because sometimes they just come out.
There's some really good lines and imagery in this song that I love, that I've always loved, and that maybe I've never told you specifically.
Let's
that I love
talk about it.
Can I name them?
Let's do it.
Please.
The shadow in the doorway.
Oh, yeah.
Says, "Babe, are you lost?"
Love that.
Oh
Love that.
God, it gets me. And then you've got to find the way to the road that you forgot. You know, that's such a good line. Like your spouse is concerned about you.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And then what's the other one? Sit down at the table full of bills and cards. One, I wonder if I'm able. The other sends regards. Like, what is that?
You know
Like,
Man,
Cory, you got the sauce,
sometimes-
brother. Those are good lines.
Sometimes I write these lines and I'm like, how did I come up with it? It just blows my mind too. But I've got the same feelings about you, Andrew. I
we
mean,
can talk
we've
about
got
them
down
later.
to this bro romance, but I feel the same way, as where you've got these lyrics and I'm like, oh shit, like how did you come up with that?
Which
But
ones?
It's interesting.
Could you tell
I
me which
can't.
ones?
Are we gonna
Maybe
get there?
later?
We're probably gonna
Maybe
get there.
later.
We're
If
gonna
we
listen
could-
to a couple of
I like
couple
that.
of songs from each of you. All right, so back to Cory anyway. As we're listening to those recordings, you know, you guys were talking a little bit about how, you know, you've got different opinions about listening to yourself Cory, you said you're not a big fan of listening to yourself on recording. Why not? You know, what is it about it that bugs you? Andrew loves to listen to himself. He's
I'm a narcissist.
He's a different breed.
I think I don't know. I just feel like I'm a really good songwriter, and that's saying a lot for me. I usually don't give myself props like that, but I don't know. I just tear myself apart.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, when I listen to lyricalness. When I listen to my lyrics, not really my lyrics, but more so my vocals, I sit and kind of tear it apart and say I should have done this or whatnot.
No, I guess
this is pretty personal.
Yeah. Well, and you know, I can imagine with songwriting, especially, or probably any art really, you know, you're putting your own soul into it. So it's not just like you're writing. It's not some boring, school project.
No.
You're putting your heart and soul into it, and so then you go back and you review it and yeah. So I definitely get that.
Yeah.
Andrew, you had a different view.
I listen to myself all the time. I was telling Cory I had to go to Black Mountain yesterday, and I literally listened to our last album the whole way there and the whole way back. And it's only like a 30-minute album or something like that. And it's like, 7 songs? Yep. I listened to it probably 5 times. One, since I play lead guitar in the band, but I didn't play lead guitar on that album, I listen to it a lot, sometimes just so I can kind of maybe pick up a couple things that Dwight McGlynn did, who played guitar on our last album. But also just because I really like the songs. Like, I like your songs, I like my songs, and I know we had talked about me and Kyle were talking before the interview, and we were talking about a Donald Glover, who's a creative genius of our time. Mm-hmm. And he, in an interview, was telling about how he loved listening to his stuff. He made music because he made music that he likes. Like, I think we're all sort of a conglomeration of our experiences and styles and things that we're attracted to. And so when we make art, especially if it's good art, you should like it. It should be something that you're like, I can groove to this, man. I like the lyrics. I like the feel of it. I like that fiddle part. I like that harmonica part. I like you're the one making it, and you make what you like. And I feel like, to me, I jam to all of my stuff. I wash dishes and listen to Sycamore Bones or the Midnight Americans or my solo stuff. Not all the time. That makes me sound a little narcissistic. But there are a lot of times where I'm I got my kids and my wife are in bed, and I got my headphones on, and I'm jamming out to my own music.
Yeah.
Because I feel what I do, and I like it.
Yeah.
It is interesting. I know we were talking about this before too. Sometimes during our gigs, we've got the 15 minutes breaks, and Massey will actually put on some of our songs during that 15-minute break if we've got that ability to do so. And so I'll be sitting there and be like, oh, shit, this is pretty good. This is a good song, not realizing that it's actually Sycamore Bones. And so maybe it is all in my head, and just got this inability to think that way.
Yeah.
But
well, I can see both perspectives, and both to me seem like, natural ways to look at it. So I guess back to the recordings a little bit. We want to go through some of the other ones too. What was the next one was the full album that you guys did, wasn't it? The first album?
The next one was actually Lake Fever.
It was 6 songs.
Lake Fever, that's right.
4, how many ever were on that other one?
Yeah. So I guess, we thought the first one was 4, but it was actually 6. So it was 6? The same. Yeah. Same, I guess.
Which is wild. What's considered an EP? Anything under 8 or 7? There's a Bright Eyes album I've gotten that only has 6 songs on it.
Is there a hard and fast rule on that?
I don't know.
We'll have to look it up and see.
I've always wondered who decides?
You can afford it. That's the question.
It's all about the money.
All about the money.
But
so Lake Fever. First of all, the title of that one, that's named for the song Lake Fever. But we were talking about the breweries earlier. Howard had that beer called Lake Fever. Did that inspire you, or was that something else?
I feel like I wrote the song Before
you knew about the beer?
Before I knew about the beer.
That's funny.
I'm not exactly sure.
I've always wondered that. I've never asked. But
I've got a bad memory. I always wanted one of their like T-shirts, or they had hats that said Lake Fever. I never got one before.
After they closed,
down.
I tried to find all the beers. I've got a couple of them, but I couldn't find that one.
Really?
Yeah, it was a great beer for those who remember. Long live Howard.
Long live Howard Brewery.
So what we were going to talk about some of the other songs. What song do you guys want to listen to next, Andrew? What was one of your favorites?
Do you want to talk about those sets of recordings first?
Oh yeah,
there's a lot of interesting tidbits about that.
Who recorded that one?
That was recorded at Tick Knock Studio, which is Patrick Crouch's studio, and he's sort of a local music legend around here, and musical statesman of sorts. Him and his wife Kay, and they've meant a lot to us, and supported us over the years, and we've enjoyed playing with Patrick and several times. But he recorded it. It was, we wanted to just kind of do a very simple folk album, because that's kind of where we were again. We tried the rock band thing with the last set of recordings, and those people kind of came and went in the life of the band.
So who was in the band at the time of this recording?
This recording was just me, Abigail, and Cory.
Yeah,
we did the three-piece for a very long time.
And then I think we'd have Jacob.
There are some special guests on the album, right? Patrick, his hands are all in it on mandolin and fiddle and stuff. And Kurt Streiser, who's now in the band Moon Unit or something. They're like a jazz prog jam band kind of thing. He'd probably punch me if he heard me describe it as that, but that's the best way I know how to describe it. It's like jazz fusion kind of stuff, but he's a great drummer. He played with Shelby Ray at the time.
Yeah.
And I paid him $50 to play drums on the song "Let 'Em Go." So if
Which
you
is
listen,
a great song.
Let 'Em Go.
Right?
That's another one of my favorites. Sycamore Bones.
I think that's what we should.
We should listen to that one.
We should listen.
Well, because that one's cool. Because JJ Hips, our good buddy, blues guitar aficionado, who's a legend in this area, and also in the band that I started, Andrew Massey and the Midnight Americans. He's just a great guitar player, and so he does some tasty little blues licks on that, and that's sort of like a folky gospel kind of song. I'm inspired a lot by gospel music. Grew up in the church, as if you listen to the first podcast. Old hymns and old gospel tunes and black gospel and bluegrass. I love it all. I just like gospel music a lot. So yeah, that's sort of the feel of this next song.
Okay, cool.
I dreamt I crossed the river Jordan. I dreamt I calmed a raging sea. But before I could turn around, everything burned to the ground, and it turned into ashes at my feet. I dreamt I was a young man running from a ghoul, a specter or a ghost. Then a voice, it came to me and whispered out so sweetly that the fears you hide, they are the fears you host. Well, let 'em go, let 'em go, let 'em go, let 'em go. The fears you hide, they are the fears you host. Well, let 'em go, let 'em go, let 'em go, let 'em go. Well, letting go might be what I fear most. I saw blue water flowing, and I pictured myself there upon a boat. I didn't know where it was going. Sometimes the greatest thrill is not to know.
I dreamt I jumped into the clear sky without a parachute or a net, and I awoke to the sound of my body slamming to the ground. My God, I have made an awful mess. Well, let 'em go,
Let 'em go.
let 'em go.
Let 'em go.
The fears you hide, they are the fears you host. Well, let 'em go,
Let 'em go.
let 'em go.
Let 'em go.
Well, letting go might be what I fear most. Well, let 'em go,
Let 'em go.
let 'em go.
Let 'em go.
The fears you hide, they are the fears you host. Well, let 'em go,
Let 'em go. Let 'em go.
well, letting go might be what I fear most.
So that was Let 'Em Go off of the Sycamore Bones, we'll call it EP
Lake Fever.
Lake Fever. Andrew, we talked to Cory a minute ago, but I think you wrote this one.
I did.
Tell us about the inspiration behind Let 'Em Go. And I'll say again, this is the other song I was thinking about when I said a minute ago that some of my favorite Sycamore Bones songs are the more uplifting, sort of positive ones. And maybe this says something about me that both of these songs seem to have a theme of like letting go of your burdens. but I love this song. You know, the line "letting go is what I fear most." That's a classic. But tell me where the inspiration came from.
Well, thank you for liking it. Most of our songs are real sad and it's kind of self-deprecating. So like when we write a positive song and people really respond to it, it feels nice, you know. But this song, most of my life I've been pretty insecure and I've just done what other people told me I was supposed to do and didn't think much of it. And then I became an adult and I went through a divorce in my early 20s and I had done a lot of church work and was unhappy with that. And I think that fell apart as well. And I was at a point in my life where I was just, I realized that I had never really done what I thought I wanted to do and just kind of did what everybody else thought I was supposed to or told me who I was. And it started me on sort of this journey of like, who am I? What am I about? Mm-hmm. And part of learning who you are is trying and failing and being scared of things and doing them anyway. And that's part of growing up. And so I think I wrote this shortly after I got married to Anna, which is my current wife, hopefully my future wife. And
we'll see.
We lived in this little house, and I think I wrote this on piano originally. And I remember, you know, I had gotten off work, and she wasn't home. She was waiting tables, I think, at Mellow Mushroom and Hickory at the time. And I sat down at the piano and just started messing around with it. And it's just 3 chords over and over again, you know. As
all good music is.
90% of my songs are. And it just kind of came out of me. I think the song probably only took an hour or so to write and edit and sort of have where I was pretty happy with it. But the idea of like the fears that you keep in and that you don't voice and that you don't confront, you're hosting them, you're keeping them with you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of... So I lived with that, but also like confronting those things is probably the scariest thing that I think could happen.
Yeah.
But it's easy to do what everybody thinks you should do your whole life. But then once you start taking responsibility for your own life, then like it's your fault. If anything, it sucks. And so being brave is hard. Being an adult is hard. Being a human being.
But you got to take those chances.
But you have. Life is about taking risks and like trying to be true to your truest self. And that's what I'm learning as I continue to grow old and have kids and become an old man.
Yeah.
So that's what this song's about.
Nice. Well, like I said, it's one of my favorites. You know, Cory, you mentioned earlier that you when you guys, we've talked about one of each of your songs that you've written to this point, and we talked last time about how you write together a little, or you don't really write together there, but you come together to create the music. You mentioned this is a song that you cover sometimes when you're playing on your own, like, and Andrew, you said you cover some of Cory's songs. What inspires you guys to like kind of play each other's songs? What is it that you enjoy about Andrew's style versus
what makes you want to cover that song?
Yeah.
That it's got 3 chords over and over again. No, I mean that's actually part of it. That's the very small part of it, mostly because I play with a lot of people who I don't practice with when I play solo, and so it's just the same thing over and over again. But really, it's the lyrics when it really comes down to it, and kind of that feeling that it gives you when you are singing it. It's the same feeling I get when I play, when I sing harmony to it as well, because you're thinking about all those things that Andrew's saying in that moment. Mm-hmm. So it's nice to actually take charge of that.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and during a solo gig, I can take charge of that song and kind of make it my own and kind of have that voice of what Andrew's saying. So it's pretty cool. It's
interesting to think about, you created this piece of music or you wrote the other one. And, once you've written it, I was reading this interview just recently with Jason Isbell, where he was talking about people covering his songs and how does that make you feel? And he kind of had the perspective of, first of all, just honored that anybody would ever want to cover my song. But second of all, once you write it, it's just out there. No matter what you meant, when you wrote it, it's out there for other people to interpret, whether it's the listeners or other artists. You guys feel similarly, or do you have other thoughts on, how people interpret your music?
I think that's the interesting part about it, because we've talked about this before, where you guys may think of a song that I write as something completely different than what I think it might be. But then when you go and talk about it, it kind of brings that out of you and say, do you know what, maybe that is what I was thinking at that time. And so I think that's the other part of when I cover Let Him Go, is I can kind of make it a little bit about me and my own personal thoughts on life.
Cory just made my day. Well, I think that's the goal, right? Like, the goal is that when people hear or sing what you write, that they feel at least similarly to the way that you felt when you wrote it. I can think of my favorite moments playing out live. I remember we played there was that grocery store, the Lowe's. in Hickory,
the Lowe's
that has the beer den. We used to play there a lot, and
under the fluorescent lights.
Yeah, under the fluorescent lights. There was a lady there who had a baby in a cart, and she looked tired, as most ladies with babies by themselves look, and she started to cry when we were singing "Don't Let the World Get You Down." Like, she got misty, and I saw and she's probably 15 yards from where we're standing and playing, you know what I mean, with her cart, and she just stopped to listen for a minute, and like she wiped a tear away and kind of had this smile that was like sad, but like, yeah, I feel that, like I'm not, and I think I started crying while I was singing the chorus. Like, I got like choked up. If you grew up in church, people doing the special singing, they hit that one verse and they just kind of can't. Yeah. Like, I got that, and it made me feel like it's not just a song that I play because it's 4 chords and it's easy and it's catchy. It made it have a sort of a deeper depth than it did before. And just like when you're talking about Cory's song Better Days, or the song that we just heard, Let 'Em Go, like when you find out that it actually affected people in a deeper way than just like, oh, that was a cool song, or that harmony was nice.
Well, it's interesting when even us, when our own song touches you, where I'll be playing a song and I'm really feeling it in that moment. One of the songs that happens a lot is Prospect Station. And so if I'm really feeling it, I'm really in that headspace, depending on what happens during the day or what happens during that week or whatnot, where you are in your life. You kind of get that like tingliness throughout your body when you're singing it, and you're like, oh shit, okay, this is perfect right now. This is where we should be. This is the song that I should be singing in my life at this very point.
That's awesome.
I got tingles now.
Tingles. Well, so I guess on that note, let's talk about the next recording, which is, I think, the most recent one that you guys have done. And what was the title? What was that one again?
Someone Who Knows.
Someone Who Knows. And that was a full album, really.
7 songs.
We'll call it an LP. When was that one recorded?
It took about 9 months, right, to get start to finish?
It did. We're busy people.
We're busy. Well, we all have jobs and kids, and
full time.
We had to meet with Ricky when he could do it. Ricky from Baumhouse Recordings in Morganton. What's up, Ricky? We had to meet with him when he was available, right? Which usually was like after like 6 o'clock or something like that. We'd go spend a couple hours at his house, like once every other week, and lay down some parts or fine tune some things. And that was a really great. That was our first time trying to really produce like a more rocking, a fuller album, we'll say.
And this was the current iteration of
current
the band,
lineup.
right?
Yeah, and so the interesting thing about that album, Ryan and Nora had just moved to North Carolina and like didn't really know any of our songs. I don't even think they were playing with us yet when we started recording. We hadn't even done a gig yet.
Probably
we just decided that they were going to be on the next set of recordings.
Yeah. Well, and what's very interesting, step above that, is I don't think we were even really playing these songs
during
much.
COVID, right? COVID was still kind of going on.
So I mean, we basically took these songs that we were like, let's record. And just like off the fly.
Did COVID kind of give you that free time? You weren't playing out as much? I mean, I don't want to say free time, but
no,
you know what I mean?
My mental health was so bad during COVID, I couldn't write anything. I kind of fell apart a little bit. And just lost interest in playing for a while. And that was rough. But I did write a few songs that I was really happy with during COVID. And we had maybe started 1 or 2 of them when Abby was still in the band before we sort of took the big break during COVID, because we went probably
Lonesome Out Tonight. It's one of those that we used to play with
Lonesome Out
Abigail
Tonight.
Taylor.
I think I had pitched you guys Someone Who Knows and Love Me, and those are both on the album too.
Yep.
And we had sort of practiced them, but we never really did them.
Yep.
And I think Don't Go I wrote during COVID, which is about COVID essentially. And then, I don't know. Yours, did you write Jet Plane or Bloodline already?
I don't know. I mean, they all just kind of collide together.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, so I don't know timeline wise when all the songs were written, but it's interesting when you write a song and they just kind of come about and you say, "What about let's doing this?" Because I mean that also comes with who's in the band as well. What kind of formation to the band?
Yeah, with this being the third kind of attempt at recording, do you feel like you had learned some things from the first couple of times? Did you do anything differently?
I wouldn't say it's a learning curve, because I think the learning curve was probably recordings before that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so you feel like by the time you got to this third one, you kind of knew how to approach it.
I think we were more confident.
We were more confident, I think, because we have been. Once you hear your voice recorded a few times, excuse me, this beer's making me burp. But once you hear yourself recorded a few times, and you get used to recording yourself, and I think me and Cory both had done some home recording during COVID, a few songs, and you sort of get into that world. It's not as like mysterious or intimidating, because you're like, oh, we want to add some EQ to that. Let's reverb that. It's a little this is a little flat. Can we raise this up? You know what I mean? Like you learn some of the tricks to do to make it sound better, or you learn some suggestions, or you start hearing more instruments you can add to things to make it sound more interesting or add more texture. And so by the time we went to go record with Ricky, I think we knew. We kind of built the songs. We kind of built the plane while we were in air. You know what I mean? Because Ryan and Nora hadn't really played with us, and they were learning the songs. And like me and Cory didn't really know each other's songs either at that time, like he said, because we just weren't playing out at all. And we maybe saw each other. I think we did Zoom. Me and you and Dwight McGlynn did Zoom meetings a few times just to like chat, you know. But it was the first time we had all got to like play the songs and experience. So what you're getting on that recording is really fresh, and it's sort of our first instinct. Because Ricky was pretty business, like he wanted us to know what we were doing when we got there, and he did a few takes, and he was like, well, that even if it wasn't what you wanted and you didn't think it was, he's like, you're done. That's
all
good.
you get.
That's all we need. And you're like, okay. And it sounded great. So it to his credit, he, even if we did a bad take, he fixed it enough to where it sounds cool. But I think, we were on his time. He was giving us a deal, and it was a good experience. I feel like it did help us go like, that's what we sound like as a rock band. You know what I mean? Like it finally kind of came together. Like I love Someone Who Knows. It kind of has a Western, not just the album, but the song that the album's named after. It's got like a Western swing vibe to it. Dwight McGlynn added like baritone guitar, and he added steel pedal.
Yeah.
Ben's drums are great. Like I love the fiddle in it. I got to add piano in it. Also, I transferred from playing bass to playing electric guitar and piano during this album, which I'm not
You've always wanted to do that, though.
I've always wanted to, but I've always been kind of a shit guitar player. like I've just kind of just done chords and been like, that's good enough. And like this, I really pushed myself out of my comfort zone to like play chord variations, and maybe I don't think I did any lead on this album, but I do now live as best I can. But like it pushed me out of my comfort zone to go, all right, I'm going to record myself playing piano. There's a song I play accordion on this set of recordings. It's brief, but it's there. Yeah.
Well, and I think recording as that full band and having this like multi-layer recording with a multitude of musicians that we have played with for a long time, as well as Ryan and Nora, who we haven't played with for that long a time when we were doing that, was really forgiving, actually. But also it was really...
When you say forgiving, what do you mean?
I would say like it's not that out front folk.
Okay.
Where like that folk album Lake Fever was just me, you, Abby, and that's
you were exposed,
it. Like,
right?
you are super exposed comparative to you mixing 5, 6, 7 different instrumentations, and you've got like a little bit more reverb on it, and you've got this ability to explore more. So
one of the things I remember from this recording was when you were in the little room where Ricky records vocals, and he's like, "Don't worry about hitting the notes. I can fix that. Just make sure you sing with emotion." Because nowadays with all the technology, they can fix whatever pitch. Yeah. They're not going to like auto tune it to where you sound like a robot or T-Pain or anything. But like if you hit a bad note, but like the emotion and the delivery is there for like most of the track that you just recorded, like they can fix some little imperfections and make it sound like a really good take. So I hope we didn't rely on that too much, but I feel like that his goal wasn't to get us to do a perfect take. His goal was to capture the feeling.
Yep. The emotion, right? The emotion in it.
And I think that was kind of, for me, that's like, I'm like, I might not always be on pitch, but I can deliver the emotion part.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. I mean, talking specifically about a song like Jet Plane, where I think that came really into play, and that where, I mean, I do some screaming in it where that's all emotion. And so maybe I didn't do it perfect, but you capture that emotion, you capture that where you want to be. Mm-hmm. So I think that turned out really well. I think it's a great album.
I'm happy. Like I said, I listened to it like 5 times yesterday and loved it.
Well, so what are we going to hear now? Let's listen to a song off of Someone Who Knows. What are we going to play for folks?
What's your pick, Cory?
I would say, I don't think it's Someone Who Knows. Does that have fiddle on it? Mm-hmm. Why don't we go with that? That would be good.
Yeah.
It's also the title of the album.
I think that's a good pick right there.
Okay.
Here is Someone Who Knows off of the album Someone Who Knows.
and dance around just like a ghost. Our feet will never touch the ground. The highway's covered in roses. Oh, darling, I see you belong to everyone but me, and I know this to be true. And eternally, whoever pulls the strings has chosen you for me. Won't you tiptoe with your charm beneath the moon's silver-lit face? You and I stroll arm in arm with nobody knowing the beauty you took to your death, the light you've taken to your grave, in the ease of your embrace. My heart is burning. Oh, darling, I see you belong to everyone but me, and I know this to be true. And eternally, whoever pulls the strings has chosen you for me.
Yeah, so again, that was Someone Who Knows off of the most recent recording. So that was, what, a couple of years ago now almost?
2 years ago.
Was it that long?
Yeah.
2022.
Yeah, that was
Jeez,
2 years ago.
ago.
Time flies when you're terrified. So what's on the horizon next? Are you guys working on anything new? Another set of recordings, or
We've had a few stops and starts
stops and starts
of doing some demos.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll start doing demos, and then we're like, we need to get together and work on arranging these new songs, and then we have gigs come up, so then we have to practice and do old songs, and then we have to go to jobs and have kids and dogs and everything else. And so we have a selection of like 6 or 7 songs.
I think 6 or 7, yeah.
Okay.
New songs. We've been doing some of them live, and some of them are going really good live. One of mine that I love playing, that I used to play with the Midnight Americans, but we never recorded it, so Sycamore Bones does a cooler version, if you ask me. It's called Mama Say, and that's a really, really fun song, and people
That's
really
good.
like it. I enjoy playing it, and it sounds good with fiddle and stuff.
It
in
really does.
It's
Yeah.
not that the style isn't
if you
different.
were at the Caldwell Musicians Showcase last year, you probably heard that one.
You did. We played it. So, but
Yeah, I think the conversations now are, where do we want Sycamore Bones recordings to go at this point?
Yeah,
I mean, we've had so many variations of Sycamore Bones, and it's almost like a bipolar type of thing. Like, what do we want to do now? How
Yeah, you
creative
sort
do
of
you want to go?
swing back and forth.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like it's been a natural progression, though, right? You sort of had like you had the 3-piece folk band thing to start off with Tom Garlow. We tried some like drums and guitar
I
and
went
stuff,
back.
and we added a little bit, but it wasn't like
Yeah.
we were a punk rock band or anything.
No.
And then we did another folk album that was more bluegrass folk, Appalachian instrumentation. But we also had drums and guitar on some of the songs,
Yeah.
on one of the songs.
Yeah.
And then we did like a full band recording, and we've done a few singles that we've put out. I feel like we have a pretty Kyle, you're a listener, a friend, and a fan. You feel like we have a pretty established sound? Like we don't seem bipolar to you, do we?
No, I agree with what you said about it feeling like a sort of natural progression. I think, like you said, you kind of started off, I knew you guys originally as kind of a duo, and then, you sort of brought different folks have been in and out of the band, but it does feel like, it's sort of been a natural build to this current sound where it's, to me, it's a little more of a real full band. It's a little more of a rock and roll, but with still that sort of folk, Western, undertone. So yeah, I mean, I've been listening for 10 years, and I feel like it's been a straight line, in some ways. But
number one fan.
I do appreciate the artistry in, trying different things.
The meandering.
Meandering and not being tied down to one style. I think, to me, when I listen to artists in general, that becomes boring after a while. You hear a band that's like, oh, they did one great album, and then you get their second one, and it's like, well, this basically sounds like the same exact thing. And it's good. I like the first one, but am I going to follow them forever? Probably not.
Maybe that's the word more so that I was trying to use, is meandering. Meandering.
It's a good word.
Like a river. Because, I mean, we went through all those kind of abilities and all those different phases of Sycamore Bones. And even now we're saying, well, what should this next album be? What genre do we want to go with? Where do we want to go? How can we experiment more with this? And I think that's kind of what it's going to come down to, is utilizing the sound that we have and the songs that we have written and are amping up to record, and then experimenting a little bit more and putting, we've talked about maybe putting some like synths in there, putting some different instrumentations. Massey's been playing accordion a lot more. So
yeah, do you feel like with those changes that it's something you really put a lot of forethought into, or is it something that you sort of discover as you're just jamming or playing live?
I think we've always, like, just because when you're our age and you play in like a acoustic singer-songwriter band, there's already a lot of comparisons you get that maybe you're not stoked about. Like, everybody will ask you to play Wagon Wheel, and everybody's like, you're like Mumford & Sons or the Avett
Tyler
Brothers
Childers.
or the Lumineers, and we're like, I don't, like, I went through a phase where I liked the Mumford & Sons, that one album they had that got real big. I was in college at the right place, right time. I listened to it a lot. I learned a few of the songs. I'm not going to lie.
Mumford & Sons was the band I was thinking about a minute ago when I said they get boring over time. That first album was awesome. It was great.
Then they changed their sound though on that one too quick, and everybody hated their guts.
The second one was kind of boring.
They're like, "What are you trying to like Radiohead for?" And everybody hated them.
So anyway.
But I feel like even the Avett Brothers, who I liked for a really long time, and they have 2 or 3 really great albums. I don't know what else they got in there for that sound.
Yeah,
and
they put a new one out recently, and it's good, but it's
more of the same.
It's a lot of the sort of the same.
And I like what I listen to is like Guy Clark and John Prine. Yeah, singer-songwriter stuff. Josh Ritter, I'm a big fan. Wilco, I'm a big fan. But I'm usually listening to like The Clash or Sam Cooke or Otis Redding, or you know what I mean. I like My Morning Jacket a whole lot. It's a lot of different stuff, and I want that to come through in what I play. Paul Simon, I love Paul Simon. Graceland, when I'm depressed, Graceland is like my comfort album that I listen to make me feel happy again. And so I want to.
I'm more of a Garfunkel guy.
Yeah, you would be, yeah, asshole. But I want to. I wish I could write an album like The Clash. You know what I mean? But I don't even. It's still magic to me. I don't know how you play punk rock and roll like that and make a band like that. I know what naturally comes out when I play or write is
Sycamore Bones.
Yep. Or even Andrew Massey, the Midnight Americans, that is still 3-4 chord rock and roll, which isn't that much different than what I do with Sycamore Bones. And sometimes there's like the song I said, Mama Say. It's a lot of crossover where it could be a Sycamore, because we do a song called If We Rust, which will be on the next album, and that song sounds good with the other band, it sounds good with Sycamore Bones.
Exactly.
It's not that different, you know.
Yeah.
But what comes out when I write is this,
Yeah.
and that's, I don't know how much control you have if you're being sort of authentic towards yourself. How much control you have over what your output is, right?
Exactly.
You want to be true to yourself and
Yeah.
put out what you consider to be good art. And I think like, if I'm always trying to chase, I got to be different. It needs to be
Exactly.
electronic, or it needs to
Yep.
be, I need
Yep.
lots of reverb or distortion or fuzz pedals. Then maybe you're not being real, but maybe you do need to try that stuff because maybe it would work.
And
So like there's this thin line where you have to sort of experiment but be willing to go like, this doesn't work, or this
Exactly.
doesn't feel true
Exactly.
to what I'm doing. I like Bright Eyes a lot. Like I love the songwriting, I like the
Yeah.
poetry. I'm just naturally not that flowery.
Yeah.
Like I can't
Right,
do
right.
all the like when he does it, it sounds cool and profound. When I do it, I feel like I'm like the flowers in the wintertime, or like I feel, it just
Yeah,
doesn't feel
yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
But I love his albums. I just can't do that.
Yeah.
And I think like when you're asking like what's the next thing, it might be more of the same, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
but we'll try to get better at it.
Exactly. Well, and I think this next time what we're going to do is put out do demos.
Yeah.
And I think it was great recording with Ricky, but I think next time when we go record with Ricky, we're going to come and be like, we've got these demos, we're going to do this, and this, and be more prepared and say, we're going to have this harmony here, we're going to have this harmony
Like a
here.
Beach Boys type chorus.
Yeah,
here.
good old Beach Boys action going on. And
Vocal layering.
yeah, and so that way we can experiment on our own a little bit more and say, what if we did this? What if we did this? And that way we can look at it and say, nope, that didn't work. Where we want to put synths in here didn't work. Okay, well, let's cut that out and see how we can still be Sycamore Bones and have this, like, I don't even know how to explain our music.
What's our
alt
sound,
country,
Kyle?
Americana.
Are we like...
Yeah, I mean, I would say Americana, folk to a degree. Yeah, I mean, that's a big kind of catch-all category.
It
But
is.
very big catch-all.
but I'd put you in it. You know, I think you guys do incorporate a lot of different things. But if you had to, if I had to pin you down to one, that's probably what it would be.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever escape it. I think it's just
Gotta lean into
part
it.
of us, and we'll see
Yeah.
what we can do with it.
Well, and I think, like you said, there's something to, you know, just getting to know yourself better and being true to who you are, and I think that
Mhm.
authenticity is what draws a lot of folks to the music. So that seems like a great place to wrap up. But before we go, you know, you guys are playing some live shows coming up. Folks can go to the website sycamorebones.com for the full schedule. But the big show, August 10th at Liquid Roots Brewing Company in downtown Lenoir. That's the 10-year anniversary show, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to have folks from all of these different recordings and all of these different iterations of Sycamore Bones will be there. We hope that fans from the last 10 years will be there. Come have a good time and support the band and support the brewery. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you there. Any last words from Cory and Andrew?
I want to say I have my voice sounds real loud now. I have thoroughly enjoyed being in a band for the last 10 years, and I don't think I'd ever been in a band. I mean, I played at church, right? But like you don't like travel to bars and carpool together and like have somebody drunk yell at you while you're playing at church.
I don't know what church you went to.
But like it's been fun. We've traveled to New York and played in Cory's hometown. We went to my hometown and played at Brew Balls, which is like the
Balls.
shrine of live music
It was
growing
a
up to
great
me.
time.
And we've had a lot of fun experiences. We've had a lot of friends join the band and leave the band, and we've got to play with some of our musical heroes, and we've had people that we look up to really like our band and like what we do, like Jay Patrick or Kevin Leftwich or Patrick Crouch or Michael Reno Harrell, or there's just been a bunch of people that we've got to know that we look up to that either appreciate what we do or have kind of helped us along the way. It's been a really cool thing. And I know that maybe people were like, why are they doing a 10-year thing about a band that only like 100 people know who the hell they are? And because we like it. because we want to, and because it's been fun and it's meant a lot to us. And you,
Yeah, why are you even listening to this
why
if
are
you
you,
know?
if you don't care, why are you even listening to this? But I don't know. I think it's important to me, and it's important to Cory, and it's at least important enough for Kyle to give up his Thursday night to sit here and ask us questions.
It is. It's important to me.
So anyway, everybody should go out and start a band, and then in 10 years you can do your own interview. How about that?
That's right. And I'll host. I've enjoyed it. Well, cool. Well, Cory, any last words?
Can't wait to see everybody out there.
Yeah, we'll see you on August 10th, everyone. Thanks.
Bye.